The emotions went from outrage to terror to bewilderment to guilt to sorrow and then back again to outrage. I felt like sickness inside me, real disease. Most of this I've told before, or at least hinted at, but what I have never told is the full truth. How I cracked. How at work one morning, standing on the pig line, I felt something break open in my chest. I don't know what it was, I'll never know, but it was real. I know that much. It was a physical rupture, a crackling, leaking, popping feeling. I remember dropping my water gun. Quickly, almost without thought, I took off my apron and walked out of the plant and drove home. It was mid-morning, I remember, and the house was empty. Down in my chest there was still that leaking sensation, something very warm and precious spilling out, and I was covered with blood and hog stink, and for a long while I just concentrated on holding myself together. I remember taking a hot shower. I remember packing a suitcase and carrying it out to the kitchen, standing very still for a few minutes, looking carefully at the familiar objects all around me. The old chrome toaster, the telephone, the pink and white formica on the kitchen counters. The room was full of bright sunshine. Everything sparkled. My house, I thought. My life. I'm not sure how long I stood there, but later I scribbled out a short note to my parents. What it said exactly I don't recall now. Something vague. Taking off. Will call. Love, Tim. I drove north. It's a blur now, and it was then. And all I remember is a sense of high velocity and the feeling of the steering wheel in my hands. I was driving on adrenaline, a giddy feeling in a way, except there was the dreamy edge of impossibility to it, like running a dead-end maze, no way out. It couldn't come to a happy conclusion, and yet I was doing it anyway because it was all I could think to do. It was pure flight, fast and mindless. I had no plan, just hit the border at high speed and crash through and keep on running. Near dusk I passed through Bemidji, then turned northeast toward International Falls. I spent the night in the car behind a closed-down gas station a half-mile from the border. In the morning, after gassing up, I headed straight west along the Rainy River, which separates Minnesota from Canada, and which from me separated one life from another. The land was mostly wilderness. Here and there I passed a motel or a bait shop, but otherwise the country unfolded in great sweeps of pine and birch and sumac. Though it was still August, the air already had the smell of October. Football season, piles of yellow, red leaves, everything crisp and clean. And I remember a huge blue sky. Off to my right was the Rainy River, wide as a lake in places, and beyond the Rainy River was Canada. For a while I just drove, not aiming at anything. Then in late morning I began looking for a place to lie low for a day or two. I was exhausted and scared, sick, and around noon I pulled into an old fishing resort called the Tip Top Lodge. Actually, it was not a lodge at all, just 8 or 9 tiny yellow cabins clustered on a peninsula that jutted northward into the Rainy River. The place was in sorry shape. There was a dangerous wooden dock and an old minnow tank, a flimsy tar paper boathouse along the shore. The main building, which stood in a cluster of pines on high ground, seemed to lean heavily to one side, like a cripple, the roof sagging toward Canada. Briefly I thought about turning around, just giving up, but then I got out of the car and walked up to the front porch. The man who opened the door that day is the hero of my life. How do I say this without sounding sappy? Blurt it out. The man saved my life. Saved me. He offered exactly what I needed, without questions, without any words at all. He took me in. He was there at the critical time, a silent, watchful presence. 6 days later, when it ended, I was unable to find a proper way to thank him, and I never have. And so, if nothing else, this story represents a small gesture of gratitude 20 years overdue. Even after 2 decades, I can close my eyes and return to that porch at the Tip Top Lodge. I can see the old guy staring at me, Elroy Burdahl, 81 years old, skinny and shrunken, and mostly bald. He wore a flannel shirt and brown work pants. In one hand I remember he carried a green apple, a small paring knife in the other. His eyes had the bluish-gray color of a razor blade, the same polished shine as he peered up at me. I felt strange sharpness, almost painful, a cutting sensation as if his gaze were somehow slicing me open. In part, no doubt, it was my own sense of guilt, but even so I'm absolutely certain that the old man took one look and went right to the heart of things, a kid in trouble. When I asked for a room, Elroy made a little clicking sound with his tongue. He nodded, led me out to one of the cabins, and dropped a key in my hand. I remember smiling at him. I also remember wishing I hadn't. The old man shook his head as if to tell me it wasn't worth the bother. "Dinner at 5:30, he said. "You eat fish?" "Anything," I said. Elroy grunted and said, "I'll bet."